Welcome to Listen to Black Women. I'm Shamika Sanders, and beside me are my beautiful gals, Kiara Kelly and Brandy Victorian. You are tuned into another hot episode starting now. We have been talking about this whole mean girl conversation ever since Gabrielle Union denounced her mean girl ways. And if you haven't seen the story, she opened up about being insecure or feeling intimidated by star actress Ryan Destiny, who people compared their looks so often, and she was like, I mean, F that girl. It got there. So we are today talking about what does it mean to be a mean girl, and where does it all come from? Ladies, chime in.
I think everyone has a mean girl in their head. Not gonna lie. But as your mama said, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Because we can sit and try to pretend like we're all saints in our head, like, I'm just thinking of rainbows and butterflies when I see other women. We all have an inner hater that's often spawned by our insecurities. But I think when you make it known and then hurt the person because of how you're feeling, that's a mean girl.
And to piggyback off of you talking about insecurities, I think that we do have a lot of insecurities, and then we broadcast them on to other people.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, Gabrielle Union is a changed woman now. Allegedly. People don't let her be changed. But can you really ever be a reformed mean girl?
Ooh.
I think you can just stop saying the thoughts that are in your head.
You're still a mean girl. Like, you're mean-spirited if you're a mean girl. So, not saying them, I don't think changes much.
I think you can change. I think you have to get to the root of the issue. I think once you are able to evaluate why you're being mean, you can retrain your thoughts. And you can say, okay, because we get into the situation where I may see, and this was an example Gabrielle Union gave. She was at a party, this girl walked in, and she started berating her in her mind and just being like, well, that girl don't have the qualifications to be here. That girl looks this way, so I'm going to judge her, and you know, so on and so forth. But what she really wasn't acknowledging was the fact that she just felt smaller when this woman walked into the space. So when you get down to the root of it and you're just like, why is this woman making me feel this way? Then you're faced with your own insecurities. And now you can actually start to combat that. But you have to do the work. Like, you can't just pop up and be like, I said all of these great words, and now I'm a reformed mean girl.
Some more social media comments in response to Gabrielle Union said, grow up, you're the immature one. And the writer of this post. Any honest person would recognize within themselves that we all have the propensity to think negative comments about people. Hell, there are times I've thought negatively about my own wife and kids. That's honest.
You got a lot to
But
say.
see, I always struggle with that whole honesty thing because I hate when people say nasty things and say, I'm just being honest. All honesty don't need to be. First of all, it's an opinion. Typically, when it's something nasty, that's an opinion. Yeah. You're not just being honest because you don't like something.
Yeah.
So I think that's a problem.
We asked our audience, where does being a mean girl come from? With 67% of you saying deep unaddressed insecurities, 23% saying lack of relationships between women, and 10% saying the community not challenging the behavior. Now that's interesting.
That is a very
the community not challenging. Do you think we allow mean girlness to thrive amongst us? Tell me.
First of all,
I know.
Because, I mean, I already thought that when you talked about, like, Gabrielle Union being in a party, whoever was on the other side of her comments, you had a choice to either say, girl, what the fuck are you talking about? Or be like, yes, she's busted, she's this, that, and the third. So it's also, people allow you, like, you gossip, all that shit. Like, that adds into mean girl behavior. Some people love and live to hear for how other people are doing bad. And when you get together and you're in that, there's nobody to stop you and be like, why are you delighting in someone else's like pain and tragedy?
Is that like tea culture? Like, girl, I got this tea.
It is.
Is that mean
And there's
girly?
levels to it. Like, it's one thing of like,
You with your girlfriend, you're like,
or you're just informing versus like, girl, can you believe
yeah. Or
her
reveling
man cheated
in
on
it.
her and now she's homeless and don't have a job?
Yeah.
Especially when you watch the people fall from a pedestal that you were probably like, they got everything, everything's perfect. But it's like, I guess this is just human nature to some extent.
Well, also,
or is it morality?
Is it rooted in jealousy?
absolutely.
And
I
you're
love it.
like,
of course,
I'm so happy this person's fell because now it's making me feel better.
of course.
And then you have to stop and flip it and be like, why do I feel so good about this?
But I even think, because I had written about experience I had, you know, I keep thinking about, I know this is Mean Girls, but I keep thinking about how Cardi B talked about who hates on her more is typically men. And I think about this loserly man put a whole video out. Yes, because that had other words, but
That is fucking
a whole
amazing.
like hour-long video about how fat and disgusting I am.
Who did that?
And it was an hour long. And all these other men were like in it and like supporting that whole conversation. So that to me is just like community going unchecked. But when I talked about it on my platform, like people got on it. They reported it, got the video like blocked and taken down. So I'm like, that's also like community can be super negative and support that type of behavior, or community can also like kind of help you when you're in that situation, you know, with that, which I think is a lot of the struggle, like people in school, you know, at that age, like they don't necessarily have the community that can like shut down a bully and tell them, and then the schools don't do what they need to do. So it's just like community, I think, is a huge part, because community also feeds into the insecurities that lead to being a mean girl to begin with.
If we're gonna talk about being a mean girl in social circles, we have to talk about mean girling professionally. And I thought a great example of this was when Robin Givhan, Pulitzer Prize winning Washington Post fashion critic and journalist, was basically dragged by her peers because she did a journalist thing and recorded a conversation at this very special media summit that was happening in Miami. And I just remember the backlash for that was crazy. And, you know, one side of the table were saying it was a sacred sister circle and she violated Michelle Obama's privacy, with another part saying she's a journalist doing her job. And I just felt the peer reaction to it. It's like, how are we talking about a sacred sisterhood circle and you literally are coming at sis's job?
Yeah.
That's mean girls.
Right. And here's the other, because this is all stems from social media, this whole drag culture. There's a way to correct people without dragging them. And first of all, if you correct somebody, they're going to be much more likely to take your criticism to heart than you drag me for filth. And then I'm supposed to be like, oh, but that's my sis. She was just telling me what I need to know. No, that's not how you operate.
Correction is with love. Exactly. Dragging is with destruction.
Right.
Yeah.
So we say all this. We know all these things are problematic. Will bullying ever stop?
But I do think that we can be more empathetic of one another and be just more compassionate, maybe less tea. Don't be in the comment section.
Right. Or don't ghost like their mean thing, because then it gets a boost and then more people get mean on it. Yeah. So don't even like the mean
You got to
stuff.
keep people accountable.
Yeah.
There you go.
And also, don't do the hive effect. When people see one thing and they just swarm and attack and quickly hurt one person because they think something happened, like, think before you tweet. There's still lives behind the computer, the phone, all that.
Yeah, feelings are valid. People be feeling things for all types of crazy reasons and for whatever reason.
Therapy.
Yes.
And last week's conversation on mental health.
There you go.
Because whatever you battling that makes you a mean-spirited individual, a therapist can probably help you work through that.
I'm a ditto that. That sounds so much better than what I said.
Therapy and log off.
Yes. There you go. As always, make sure you tune in and tell somebody else to tell a friend to tell a friend. Don't be mean. Just kidding. Yes. But no, don't be mean. But watch, listen to Black women.
And don't be mean in our comments either.